Everyone avoided the dog in the road, until one girl risked her life and shocked drivers. There are roads that roar, and there are roads that hold their breath. On the edge of Amberwood Highway, a stretch known for speed, horns, and engines that never sleep, a strange tension settled over the asphalt. Even the light breeze seemed to hesitate, as if unsure whether to move forward or turn back. Cars rushed by in metallic blurs. Headlights sliced through the late evening haze. Drivers leaned forward, hands tight on the wheel, eyes fixed on their own destinations. No one looked down. No one wanted to. At the center of the lane, curled like a forgotten shadow, lay a dog, small, shivering, barely breathing. Its fur was matted with dust, one paw twisted at an unnatural angle, chest rising in weak, frightened jerks. Every passing vehicle sent a tremor through its fragile body, a silent flinch that was almost too painful to watch. But the people didn't watch. Some swerved around the little body like it was nothing more than debris on the road. Others shook their heads. A few even laughed. Probably already dead. It's not my problem. Who stops in the middle of a highway for a stray? Whispers from car windows drifted like cold smoke through the air. Yet the dog moved. Barely. Just enough to prove it was still fighting. Just enough to make the road itself seem cruel. Pedestrians on the sidewalk slowed for a moment, noticed the trembling creature, then kept going. A couple of teenagers pointed at the scene and joked. One man pulled out his phone to record but didn't step closer. Everyone was avoiding the dog. Not out of fear, but out of convenience. Everyone but one. Lila Rowan had been walking home from her after-school job, backpack slung over one shoulder, headphones half broken and crackling with static. She almost missed it. Just another blur, on just another exhausting day. But something tugged at her. Not a sound, not a scream, just a feeling, a wrongness in the air. She stopped on the curb, eyes narrowing as the traffic lights flickered yellow. Her pulse quickened. That wasn't a shadow on the ground. That wasn't trash. It was alive. "Oh no," she breathed, stepping forward before her brain even formed a plan. The wind shifted, carrying the faintest whimper toward her. A sound so fragile it barely existed. Lila's heart clenched. She dropped her backpack and moved closer, only to feel hands grab her shoulders. "Hey, what are you doing?" a man shouted. "You can't go out there. Cars aren't going to stop for some dog." But Lila pulled away. "They don't have to stop," she said firmly. "I will." The man scoffed. "Kid, don't be stupid. Let the animal control deal with it." "Animal control isn't here," she said, eyes locked on the trembling shape, "and he might not live long enough for them to be." A group nearby began whispering. "What is she doing?" "She's going to get herself killed." "Just leave it." Everyone else did. Their voices swirled around her, mocking, warning, disbelieving. But Lila barely heard them. All she saw was a creature abandoned in the middle of chaos, and a world too busy to care. A truck roared past, shaking the ground. She winced as dust blew across her face. More headlights approached, fast, unforgiving. She didn't think. She ran. "Hey!" Someone screamed behind her. "Are you crazy?" The horns blared instantly, violent and furious. Tires shrieked as a driver slammed brakes. Another swerved dangerously close to her. But Lila kept going. Her breath hitched. Her knees shook. The world became a blur of light and noise and terror. But none of it mattered. The dog's eyes flickered open, glassy and confused, just long enough to see her coming. "I'm here," she whispered, dropping to her knees beside him as cars screamed to a halt around her. "It's okay. I'm here now. Don't move. Don't be scared." The dog whimpered again, softer, like it understood. Drivers leaned out of windows, shouting angrily, "Get out of the road. Move. You're blocking traffic. You'll get someone killed." But even as chaos erupted around her, Lila felt only determination. She slid her hand slowly under the dog's small, trembling body. "It's okay. I've got you." For a moment, Just one fragile moment. The entire highway seemed to hold its breath. Then something happened. Something none of the drivers, onlookers, or mocking voices expected. The dog jerked violently in her arms, eyes widening as if sensing something behind her, something she couldn't see but should have heard. A low rumble trembled across the asphalt. Lights brightened. People screamed, "Lila, look out!" But she didn't. Not yet. Her arms tightened around the dog, and the world erupted. Right as the scene cut to black, the world didn't just explode into sound. It slammed into her like a wave. A truck horn screamed behind her, deep and monstrous. Tires burned across asphalt. People shouted her name, their voices cracking in panic. But Lila held the dog tighter. For a split second, time slowed. The heat of the headlights burned against her back. The ground thrummed beneath her knees. And then, a hand grabbed her wrist. "Move!" Someone yanked her sideways, just as the truck thundered past, missing her by inches. The force of the pull spun her off balance, and she collapsed onto the shoulder of the road, the dog still wrapped tightly in her arms. Her lungs burned, her vision blurred. But she was alive. The man who'd pulled her, a driver who had stopped his car last second, knelt beside her, breathless. "Are you insane?" he gasped. "You could have died." Lila wiped grit from her face. "He would have died if I didn't." The man stared at her, stunned into silence. For the first time, the crowd quieted. Drivers stepped out of their cars. People who had mocked her now stood frozen, guilt carving itself into their expressions. The dog whimpered softly, pushing its nose weakly against her arm. "We need a vet," Lila said, steady but trembling. No one argued this time. 10 minutes later, she was in the back seat of the stranger's car, the injured dog cradled on her lap as they sped toward the nearest emergency clinic. Every bump in the road made the little body flinch. "It's okay," she whispered again and again. "Stay with me. Don't give up now." The man driving kept glancing in the mirror, voice low. "I didn't stop earlier. I thought someone else would." He swallowed hard. "You made me feel ashamed." Lila didn't answer. She just stroked the dog's fur. At the clinic, the vet rushed them inside. Bright lights, hurried footsteps, clipped commands. It all blurred together. They placed the dog on a table, hooked him to monitors, checked his leg, listened to his heartbeat. After several tense minutes, the vet approached Layla. "He's hurt," the vet said gently. "But he's strong. He held on longer than most would have. Because of you." Relief hit Lila so suddenly her knees weakened. "So he'll live." The vet smiled. "Yes, he'll live." Lila covered her face with her hands, a shaky breath breaking free. Behind her, the driver who'd rescued her wiped his eyes. Others who had followed from the roadside stood awkwardly in the waiting room, strangers who had come just to see if the dog survived, the same people who had ignored him seconds before danger, the same people who had mocked her, now silent, now humbled. Later, when the dog, cleaned, bandaged, and warm, was brought out, he saw Leela and lifted his head weakly. His tail thumped, once against the blanket. He remembered her. He chose her. Leela knelt beside him, fingers brushing his paw. "You're safe now," she whispered, "and you're not alone anymore." The vet looked between them. "Does he have a name?" Lila hesitated, then smiled. "Hope." The vet nodded, as if the name was the perfect fit. Outside, night had settled over the city. Cars moved quietly now, the world softer somehow. Lila stepped into the cool air. Hope curled gently against her chest. People on the sidewalk watched them pass, some recognizing her from earlier, some whispering in awe. Yet Lila barely noticed. She wasn't looking for attention. She wasn't trying to prove anything. She had simply refused to be like everyone else who walked past suffering. And now, she carried a heartbeat that would have been lost without her. A life the world abandoned. Until one girl stopped the world long enough to save it.